Well, hello and good morning. Welcome to Pieces of Pat Paints. I'm Pat. I paint all sorts of things, mostly miniatures, mostly sculptures and stuff like that. I like 3D stuff in general, but we painted some cats and stuff the other day. But you know we've got some other sculptures down here. Halloween on the way. I think after we get done with this, if I can get done fast enough, I'm gonna try to do one of the sugar skulls. If not, I might have to do it like off camera because it's Halloween time. It's October. It's October. So, and we're almost to the birth of this channel, the true birth of this channel. I mean, I've had a YouTube account for a long time, but I turned it into a channel. I think the first video is October 4th, so Friday will be a year of me posting stuff to YouTube. I got the crazy alfalfa sprout going on. Every time I cut my hair, man. This is why I had it long for so. It's why I usually have it long, because there's this spot in between, like when it's when when it's cut and when it's not cut. Anyway, it's just me right in my mouth. I hope you guys are having a great day. We're gonna get to feeding. We've got things to do. We are here to paint. That is what we do. Click on the open sign. Bow. Anyway, so we've been working on some Space Marine stuff. New game's out. Very exciting. If you have any lore questions, I can answer like most of them. Probably not all of them. Some of them I might have to give you more vague answers and less detailed answers. Have you paid penance to the machine god today? Man, I probably need to. It'll help things going. But yeah, so we're trying to get this guy done up. We did do the inside, so that part is done. And we are working on getting this outside done. So yesterday we dropped a wash on it. Well, a couple washes, honestly. Today we're gonna come back and see where we are with a bunch of this other stuff. So grab some coffee or whatever you like to drink, kind of tasty beverage, and hang out. And we're just gonna kind of paint. That's what we do. Format of the show is pretty loose. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I love questions. Ask me anything. So it says it on the sign. We drink a lot of coffee here in the studio. I'm starting to get back to the manifesting that. You know, where if you keep saying it, it becomes a thing. You know, so if I keep saying, "Oh, studio," had to grab an energy drink. Yeah, I know how that goes. Man, there's this one YouTuber I want to check. I want to actually check out one of his products. He makes this gum called Stripe Gum, and it's like caffeinated gum. And it's like he's using like ginseng and natural caffeine from green tea extracts and stuff like that to make this mint gum that's sugar free. And like I was like, man, that actually sounds good, because like sometimes you just can't hold a drink, and you know. Anyway, and he's a cool YouTuber. If you're looking for content on conflicts going on around the globe, check him out. It's Combat Vet Reacts. He's really cool dude. His name is Paul. Really cool guy. And he's a Warhammer fan. So, you know. I think he was playing Warhammer the other day, honestly. I've been working on this guy a little bit more. Got his arms are semi done. You see our shadows are in for the most part. We'll start coming back and doing some fine work, getting some of these other things put together. Yeah, the caffeinated in the ramen. I've seen that. It's like, man, they'll just gonna go and do whatever. We're just anything we can. We're just gonna make it all caffeinated. It's fine. I thought that was pretty amazing. That's pretty funny. All right. So anyway, we are going to, before I go and do the legs, oh man, I don't know if I want to try them. Okay, so I'm going to load up this brush a little bit off, and then we're going to dry brush tops of this, and this is going to kind of help us finish getting rid of the streaks, and it's also going to help with oh, you can work in your weathering this way. There's lots of things we can do by adding this dry brush. Mostly we're trying to soften out any real major streaky looks, and sometimes you can even start to streak with a dry brush, and you kind of have to pay attention. I almost made one there myself. Because of the nature of the way dry brushing works, it's less chances of you keeping a streaked look after a finish with dry brushing. And that's what we're trying to do, is kind of get rid of any looks where you can still see where we've got a little bit of the streaks here and here. Yeah, right on. Yeah, it's I liked their stuff. It's good. I think I added a new one yesterday at the very end of that, or to like, we're almost up to 40 minutes of music. I think I'm gonna do like we have a year anniversary coming up. We'll be a year old on Friday. It's when we very first started putting shorts out. The live's got a ways to catch up, but it's been a year. It's been a year, toiling away as an artist. It didn't do me much good, except for getting a lot of fun people to come by and hang out with me. Our next goal is to get to where YouTube's going to pay for the art supplies. So if you like what you're seeing, totally give us a like and subscribe, and help me get YouTube to pay for these paints. One, if we can get up high enough, we'll have like paint companies paying for our paints. Get sponsorships and stuff like that. That's what gets really cool. Some of the better painters, better YouTubers. That's what's so crazy about the YouTubers is, like, some of them are really, really talented, and some of them are just really, really amusing. And it's like awesome. Like, I love that's how it is. Like, some people are just entertaining, and some people are actually good, and some people are super informative. And that's one of the things I like about YouTube is, like, you can kind of get everything. You can kind of get the humor, you can get the seriousness, you can get the educational. It's all kind of here. It's like TV without local news, unless you just want to go watch the local news. You don't have to. I am thinking about branching out though. Maybe a little Twitch, do a little simultaneous streaming. I think I might have to get a better computer for that, but yeah, one thing at a time. Again, we're really, main goal here is to soften up your lines. Kind of create a little bit more of this weathering pattern. God, I turned that heater on. I just burned my leg a little bit. Good thing I've got fast reaction speed. It was downright cold in the studio this morning. I was like, holy moly. There's a little nip to the air. Have a little space here. It's a really nice one. It gets really hot. You gotta be super careful. You burn yourself pretty bad. You touch it. I just got close enough to scare myself. Why is my leg getting hot? Oh wait, the heater. That's funny. That's one of the things I love about live is there's hilarity that's always going to ensue. Something's going to happen. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day something's going to happen. If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at, right? I mean, it should be that way. Hey, we're back. Okay. Yeah, you might have to do 1 or 2 rounds because you never know. Sometimes it doesn't adhere right. If you see it moving on you, you wanna kind of. This Christian run around back there. Back again. Interesting. The wonderful internet. Ah, yes. Alright, let's start to tone it down just a little bit. And again, you can see how it's got. Let's see close. I gotta remember not to come up close enough. The way I've got it set up, it likes it down here, and it's so much crisper. So, said you want a little bit of this pattern. You might want to take it down a little bit farther. You might want to do a little bit, more of the yellow, which is you can do that too. There's one time I sent my girlfriend $20 through Apple Pay. Then about an hour later, I realized, I said, wait, we have a joint account. Why did I send it through Apple Pay like an Yeah. I said I was going to finish the Librarian too. I worked on that Librarian today too, and here I went right back to the Dreadnaught. Just more, there's something exciting to show, something like a next step. Librarian, we're back to doing the same steps. They're starting to look good. I did a little work on these legs last night to try and hide looks like it's gonna have to do it again. Gotta be real careful. I'm trying to get just a little tiny bit in there, but I don't want to lose these spots where there's, you know, a little bolt, little rivets. But they put, man, it's really sucks. That's a bad mold line, or a bad molding, in my opinion. Pancakes have been off the last several mornings. Yeah, that's probably what it is for sure. Yeah, we're on Cox, so that would make sense. It's all good. Don't worry about it. I've so many like flubs when it comes to tech stuff that like I'm just so used to it now. I'm like, oh, of course it didn't work right. Happens. Plus, like, you know, if something doesn't go wrong, is it really a live show? I'm pretty sure you coined that phrase, my friend. Oh my gosh. I'm still a little sleepy. So this repair job I did on this white brush. This brush is a Klinsky. I'm sure of it now. I was using it yesterday, and I'm positive that this guy is a Klinsky. It was one of the only ones that I was able to find that my kids had not thrashed. Yes, sir. This one's got a little fur here. I have no idea what that was. It was vague again. The paint kind of stuck up a little bit. It came off pretty quickly and easily. It could have just been a dust particle or something. It wasn't paint. Took it down when I was doing the pictures. These and the smaller ones, like this one right here is great on the handle. Great on a handle. These are getting almost too big for it, but and the big ones I didn't like. I personally did not like it. No, that's not to say that it isn't good. Maybe other people like them. I always kind of like when it comes to tools. I might give somebody like a hard time around a tool, but I'm also going to tell them, hey man, use whatever you like to use. That's what you should use. If it gets the effect you like, if it does the thing you like, that's what matters. Especially with like this sort of thing where you're painting an army for you to play with. Like, honestly, who cares if your stuff's a little bit blobby or whatever? If you're happy with it, then that's what matters. You can always strip it later too. Like, if you get to a point where you're in your paint journey where you're like, hey, I really don't like that paint job anymore. I think I can do better. And I want to try and fix it or whatever. You can strip these things. I show you guys how to do that all the time. So don't be afraid. Jump out there, do the dang thing, give it a whirl. Or maybe you won't, and then I'll buy your pieces on eBay. And then I'll strip them and fix them. And it's no worries. But whatever you do, don't throw these things away. You can sell them. Somebody will buy them. I promise. So let me get down to a boot. Okay. Just brush it off the boot. Down to that. Now remember, one of the things they remember if you haven't been here yet for a while, and heard me say this, because I say it, I feel like every episode. Yellows and whites in particular, because of the way their pigments go, they don't leave as much color, as much pigment on there for paint. So it's like it takes more layers of yellow or white to fill in to fill in the color. You'll have to come back several times. So trying to do it without doing that is folly. You're just not. It's not going to work that way. You can't do it that way. You have to know that you'll be working in layers and plan it and use that. You know, if you think about what you're doing, slow down, take a breath, really think about how you want some look. Come on. There we go. Was not wanting to hit that one little line. I'm talking like just an nth of a degree right there. To get in the gaps as best we can, because we want to put a different color in there. You can always just come back if you catch it quickly. You can come back with some water and pull it out. It is kind of nice that when you have the heater on, because I can put my coffee over there, and it keeps the mug warm. It's kind of nice. I do love the winter time. Big fan. I really like late fall as well. One of my favorite things is like when you're able to roll the window down, crank the heat up on the bottom, you know, turn it down to the floor, crank that heat up and go rolling around. Oh, so nice. Where it's super cold up top, warm at the bottom. Probably kind of a weird thing to like. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you remembered that. It's a real thing, man. The first time you put your first layer you put on there, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't dark enough, or something. Because it's like, and it's not dark. That's not the actual word. But it's the pigmentation of it. Yeah, cut the seed heaters on. Those seed heaters are fun. afraid to paint under that armor too. It needs color as well. I shouldn't say don't be afraid. I should say just don't forget. I don't know that that's a thing to be afraid of. Painting that little spot. Watch that pooling. Those legs are so much easier. There's not a whole lot of glyph work. At least that part of the leg. The inside. The back of him is pretty easy. It's all in the front is where all the craziness is. I rest my hand for a second. Always take it if you're ever feeling a little numb in the tips of your fingers. Just give yourself a second. Kind of let your hand relax. Sometimes you need to put it down at your side. Just kind of slowly flex your hand around a little bit. It's good to push it all the way out like this and pull back. Just put it up here at this camera. You know, put your hand out like that. Pull it into a fist. Stretch it out and then move your fingers. As you get older, you'll want to do that more. When you're younger, you know, you can go a lot longer before you start to feel it. But if you start getting your hand numb for too long, you'll start to cause nerve damage. You don't want to do that. So definitely take breaks. If you feel that way, you should totally take a break. You want to be able to paint for a long period of time, so I mean, and not just in one setting. I mean, for years. You want to be able to paint for years if you're getting into this hobby. Gotta breathe, gotta breathe. Just got one hair right there. Maybe we can grab it without disturbing anything else. Be nice. Not too bad. This spot underneath this skull is really hard to get to. Well, if it's like dry brushing, this would be the way to go. I kind of mess with it. I'm wondering. It is kind of fun to test my skills. Trying to just grab the tops of things. It's gonna be a lot harder on these places where these runes are at. Simply because the runes are really hard to see. At least on that first round, it's easier to see once they're kind of locked in. There we go. They're starting to come out now. Again, it's going to kind of look ashy at first. It's going to kind of look like it's messed up, but it is imperative, it is super important that when it comes to yellow and white, you have to just be patient and just keep kind of coming over it. Thin. Especially if you want to avoid streaks. It's going to start out looking streaky. No matter what you do, it's going to start out looking streaky. And as you kind of keep adding those layers on it, this streakiness will slowly go away. Oh, the ashiness. You know, you a lot of different looks. Like on him, it's a little bit more like an ashy look, whereas on your panels here, you can see the panels look more streaky. Okay, they look less ashy. He looks kind of more ashy. It didn't quite look right. And it's definitely the first couple layers are the hardest. I say the very first is the hardest. Especially on these little fine areas. It doesn't want to like stay in the right place for you. The paint itself. I'm seeing a lot better today. Allergies might be down a little bit. That's good. I could barely see yesterday. My allergies were so bad, all I wanted to do was take a nap. Don't worry about a little bit of overpaint on that rock. We're definitely going to come back and do a lot of work on the rock. His tactical rock. One of the biggest jokes in 40K miniaturing is about the tactical rocks. So you can look at like old GW stuff. They're like standing like this. Let's see, there's some space blues. You know, old GW. And that's, look how much shorter that firstborn is than this Primaris. He's so much shorter. Anyway, and then you got to this level where we were doing this, the very first Primaris. And now everything has like a tactical rock. If it's like a major marine, tons of them have tactical rock. Where he's not standing on it straight. It's a tactical rock. He's standing up on a rock. Oh yeah, the firstborns are crazy. And then you get out like this Inquisitor, and like he's like way shorter. Even if you even up the bases, he's like way shorter than this Primaris Marine. And we had some of those. Where's those other ones? Okay, there's a. So this is the same. This is basically the same model. This one's from the 90s, sometime in the 90s is where this guy comes from. And then this is the new version. This is a Primaris Marine. So we you're getting into the hobby, don't buy a bunch of those other guys. They're phased out. Those the Space Wolves get to use them because the Space Wolves they're special in lots of ways. But they get to field old Marines mainly in lore because they have so many like Marines that don't go through the Primaris situation, and they haven't fully adapted the Primaris thing. There's some lore stuff they use to explain it. In reality, what it is the box that the Space Wolves come in, their combat patrol box. If you're going to buy like the big starter kit for an army, it's called a combat patrol. It's a good starter kit for an army, really, because it's going to give you a bunch of the basic foot soldier Marines and stuff, or any kind of foot soldiers for whatever it is, Xenos or whatever. Anywho, right before they started they made the Primaris Marines, and they started upgrading all the Marines. They had put out the Space Wolf Combat Patrol, and so everything in the Space Wolf Combat Patrol is the last of the old Marine line, what they call Firstborn. And so if you play Space Wolves, for now, they're letting you keep the old Marines. Namely, so they don't have to like remake molds and pay the money to redo it all properly. Which is, if you're honest, that sounds like a corporation. Trying to get around this bubble. I don't really want to paint it too much yellow because I'm not sure what color we want to make it. I'm going to take a look at some other pictures of these librarians and see what people have done. There aren't a lot of them that have turned them Dark Angels, but there's a few. We may not follow what they do either. So keep it thin. Try to keep your brush strokes going in the same direction. You can't always, but try to keep them going in generally the same direction. Pay real close attention to where you're going. Don't be afraid to move your model. These are all basic tips. I feel like it's good to go ahead and mention the basic stuff pretty often. Especially now, like I said, we've got a lot of new people coming into the hobby because of that game, which is awesome. Honestly, you need people to get involved so that the hobby continues. You can't sit here and gatekeep the whole thing. That doesn't stop people from trying. All right, this book back here. It's like his spell book or whatever. I'm wondering if we should paint it green for the Dark Angels or something else. We're gonna leave it alone. We still have a lot of base coating to do here, so. Oh man, speaking of tiny, I should, where are they? think I've pulled these out before. Oh, since we have a Terminator. So this is a Terminator, a Librarian and Terminator armor. And this is a Grey Knight. Now this Grey Knight is supposed to be like one of the highest levels of, you know, the most amazing Space Marines they are. And he's in a very special type of Terminator armor. And the Grey... and that's like the same size base. It's the same size base. These are from 1999. And you can just see the difference in the size. Like this guy is so much bigger. It's so funny. So this is supposed to be like this massive armor, and he's not even as big as a Primaris Marine. It's hysterical. And it's so I feel so bad for my little Grey Knight army, because I'm like, oh my gosh, all my guys are now too tiny. But it does make them look more like he looks more natural. Like that looks more proportionate. You look at those old guys and they don't look proportionate. Like this guy looks like he's got the widest hips in the world. It's like homie is definitely standing almost the same distance apart on the base. But like he just doesn't have enough hip for all that. Makes him look like he's like stretched out in the middle, like one of those old Stretch Armstrong dolls or something. Again, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that bubble. Probably definitely going to make it yellow, I think. But I don't know if we're going to make it glow or put the glow effects in there or whatever. Okay, that's ribbon, that's ribbon, that's ribbon, that's leg. I guess we could actually paint these ribbons the same color. Goal is to have enough music to where it only repeats every hour. That's the goal. Oh, so, okay. Dark Angels. Primarch. Lionel Johnson. The Lion. First Legion. First Primarch made. First Starties chapter founded, really. Like, they are the First Legion. Lionel Johnson was, they found on the planet Caliban by a man named Luther. Luther was, and everybody on Caliban really were part of kind of a feudal society with knightly orders and things like that. The whole planet, it was covered in a forest inhabited by massive monsters. they spend a lot of time, you know, basically slaying monsters and stuff like that in these nightly orders. And then Lionel Johnson comes along, and him and Luther go freaking Beowulf on this stuff and kill basically all the monsters on the planet, with the exception of this one area where they kind of keep them where you can go and slay your monster as a new recruit, right? So the Great Crusade comes. They, you know, the Emperor finds Lionel Johnson and Caliban. They go on the Great Crusade. You know, we're fast forwarding through a lot of stuff here, but you know, just for sake of glossing over it. The Great Crusade happens. Lionel Johnson, the Emperor, and all the other ones, you know, they start reuniting the galaxy for humanity. Then the heresy comes, and the Lion goes to, you know, help with the heresy, you know, stop Horus from wrecking the galaxy and, you know, turning everybody over to chaos. Pretty noble cause. And while he's gone, chaos kind of takes over Luther, because Luther gets left, I think, in Caliban, if I remember right, to kind of like shore up the defenses there, while Lionel Johnson's trying to go and help Terra, because the Chaos forces are heading to Terra to, you know, take over the planet and kill the Emperor or whatever. Their final plans are not exactly clear, but anyway, they were going to go and basically butcher everybody. Was the general plan. Now, corruption happens to Luther. Chaos gets him corrupted, and he turns a bunch of people against the Lion and against the Imperium. And so when the Lion shows up and they try to calm him and tell, you know, activate the comms and communicate with him, they get fired on, and it starts off a civil war. And in the end, the planet gets destroyed, and after, you know, the loyalists end up winning after it's all said and done, and they have spent forever hunting down the forgotten, or the unforgiven, the people that are the people that are out there that are. And here's what's crazy. Oh, so okay, back this up just a second. So some of these people who are part of that organization, or that part of the people being hunted by the loyalist archangels, they didn't fall to actual chaos corruption. They just got lied to and got swept up in the situation. So some of these people are still loyal to the Emperor. They're still loyal to the Lion. They didn't understand what was happening. They're just following the orders that were being given by their higher ups. So like so as the Dark Angels find these people, some of them get killed and some of them get brought back into the fold, kind of depending on how it goes. But the Dark Angels kind of like ignore that this thing is real, and they don't talk about it, and they try to purge any records about it ever happening. After a long period of time, they finally find this chunk of an asteroid, giant big asteroid, that they find out eventually is Caliban, and then you find out that Lionel Johnson is down in the depths of this giant chunk of the planet that's left, and he's being watched over by the Watchers, which are these other little strange entities from Caliban. Anyway, so the Lion was asleep, and so in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the Lion slept. All right. you know, never take 40K too seriously. That was definitely done on purpose. And it was funny. And they in the lore, like they made it to where the lion was asleep because the lion sleeps the night. It was funny. Anyway, but now the lion is awake because you can play Lionel Johnson on the field now. He woke up from his slumber and he's out kicking butt in the galaxy again. So that's 2 loyalist Primarchs that we have back now. So you have 2 armies that have Primarchs that you can play as on the tabletop. You can play on the tabletop, and that's the Ultramarines and the Dark Angels, the 2 big poster boys for the franchise. And you can't really bring Sanguinius back because he did. And you can't bring Ferrus Manus back because he did. We can bring Vulcan back. Vulcan's come back and gone away and come back and gone away. They're still looking for Vulcan. But all the other ones they did. Just gonna try and keep that super thin. Just keep working our way through here. Couple rounds and a lull. So I'll turn out all that. Yeah, the Black Rage is crazy. Yeah, Sanguinius is a cool figure. When I'm not going to reveal too much because you're just about to start the actual Heresy books, and like everybody likes Sanguinius. Everybody. And he was Horus's favorite brother, and so it makes the whole thing that much worse. Where you're like, oh man, because remember, in the telling of the tale, the Horus heresy, from the reader perspective, is about the fall of the best to corruption. And so you have to have Sanguinius as the juxtaposition, as being the other best, the one that people liked as much as they liked Horus. But yeah, it's all about Horus's fall from grace. Of course, I made my life harder by putting that loincloth in there. It's totally worth it. Trying to keep it from pooling is mostly what you're doing, really. Especially on these bag bits. You just don't want to pool too much. We may even come back and probably paint those little knobs in yellow. I'm gonna look that up. Cause like they changed Terminator armor so much. Oof. Like I said, this you're looking at what Terminator armor used to look like right here. You know, and this was the good sculpt. This is like the cool Terminators. So like there's change. You can see how some of it's the same, but some of it got changed like a lot. You can barely make out what any of these words are on this, but on the new versions of things, because this one's newer, you can see the words. You know what I mean? And that's just changing in technology. Oh, look at there. We're almost out of time for today. I have so much fun doing it. I just, you know, the hour just flies by. I love this skull down here. It's got a bullet hole in it. Just trying not to let it pool too much, right? And this is the stage of the game. Not too much to stress about. Imagine world bearers would be fun to paint. Yeah, the word bearers I don't think they actually have a separate army, so you would have to attach like a lot of your own stuff to it. So like the chaos armies got neglected for a long time. And they're just now kind of like coming out with different stuff for them. I think that they're getting ready to do Emperor's Children next, which would be sweet. I would have a hard time not buying some Emperor's Children stuff just because Kristen loves purple. And so I would love to paint an army for her. It was like her little army guys. Because that may be the only way we can ever get her to play. She's definitely not interested in it at all. Loves D&D, loves role-playing games. Like, even likes like the tactical part of the D&D game. But like, Warhammer is a bridge too far. Or 40k is a bridge too far. She might play like Silver Tower, or if I got the RPG for Warhammer, she might play that. Is that honestly fun? Yeah, there's a lot of talk about it. Nobody's seen any models yet, so don't listen. Don't believe the hype with Games Workshop stuff until you actually see it. Take that from an old vet of this game. Do not, under any circumstances, believe anything they tell you until you see it with your own eyeballs. slowly coming along, and looking great too. Really looking good. It grabs it so much easier once you start getting paint on it. When it's all black, the camera does not want to look at it. It's really funny. Oh man, yeah. So much that like we call Games Workshop James Workshop so that we can have like a manifestation of an actual person to complain to, because you know the corporate entity of Games Workshop is like it. I don't even know that they have a president of the company or a CEO. I don't know that it's not just a bunch of trolls in a back room somewhere like counting money. So we have to name it something that seems more human, and so we call him James Workshop. Yeah, they're most of the people who play the game are positive that the people who run Games Workshop hate the fan base, which I don't think that's true. I think they know that they can make money off the fan base because the fan base will pay exorbitant amounts of money for plastic crack. And I mean an exorbitant amount of money. And they've been doing it for years and years and years and years, so it's like they're not terribly worried about it. Because if you think Americans can complain, oh, it's not just gamers, man. It's everything. You start looking at anything and you're going to find the same deal. Like, you can buy a Nissan for, on average, $5,000 to $6,000 less than the same Honda. But Honda knows people are going to buy their cars, and so they can charge more, even though it's the same. It's almost the same car. You get inside it, it rides the same, it feels the same, it smells the same. But people will pay a premium on Toyotas, or on Hondas. They always will. And it's literally just brand naming right at that point. Like there's other war games out there that are way cheaper than this. And a startup cost on Warhammer is crazy. Now they don't have all the same amount of lore. They don't have all the same amount of ranges in there. You know, shoot, there's so many different types of 40k armies out now that like you could either kit bash or paint by proxy just about anything you can think of. And they kind of have rules for a lot of it too. You just have to find the right. A lot of times it's going to be a towel contingent. That's one of their things that they did when they made the towel. They made it to where the towel can be this kind of all-in-one. Alright, well, that's pretty much. We're going to leave that guy alone for today. Take a look at this guy real quick. You see how that's set in. Finish is starting to look a lot less streaky, a lot more smoky and, you know, weathered, which is precisely what we want. Looks good. Like it. We're gonna probably add another wash to it tomorrow. It's gonna be more of like the finish wash, but we may need to do another dry brush and let it completely dry over. Slow it down. Gonna wrap up. So yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. We'll take a look at what we need to do to finish off the base coats on that thing, or the base parts of that thing. we'll do the little decorations, and then that side will be done. And then we'll work its way down the legs and onto the guns. We'll keep working on the Librarian as well. I kind of like to get them both at the same time, because it was one part's dry and I can work on another. When I paint armies, usually I paint like a bunch of parts at once for like a squad, and then I come back and paint the next part. That way it dries in between working on them. Anyway, that's about all I got for you guys today. I'm gonna get out of here and go take care of some other things like a nap, and so yeah, a nap. And then I think I'm gonna, like I said, I think I'm gonna mix a few more videos up, maybe from all the old shorts, or from all the shorts for the year. Do like a highlight reel or something. I don't know. Anyway, hope you guys had a great day. We're gonna talk to you later. Bye.